All right, everybody, welcome back to the Stack and Wins podcast. This is Brian. So today, what I'd like to talk about is first thing I want to do is I just want to reach out and thank Alan again for taking the time to come out and sit down with me. That was really awesome of him. It was a really great time sitting with him and hearing his story and just having the opportunity to go in depth with him about everything he's been through. Um, he's been through a lot. He the one thing that I thought was interesting about his story is that he was able to share that he had some ups and downs and he was able to come back from it, and he's got a strong support network in his family that's helped him along the way in getting to where he is now. And I think that's pretty important because without that, as I've found, is it makes it really hard to be able to get through this. So, it's pretty admirable for him to be able to get through it and be able to explain that and have that vulnerability. So thanks again, Alan, for really coming out and taking the time to share that with us. One thing I want to take a minute to ask is that if you're sitting back watching this, just take a second to subscribe to the channel and like the videos. It really does help out and goes a long way to help out. So please go in there and take the second to do that. It really does help us out and make it and helping us grow. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Um, you know, One of the things I wanted to take a second to do was let you know that I've been I've been going through a lot of this Stack and Wins stuff for quite some time now, and I started it on my journey with obviously with this alcohol and getting through that, and then with my bow hunting Instagram, I I did a lot of it with that too. I would go out and do workouts or whatever I was doing, and I would do Stack and Wins with that, and that's where it started to kind of catch on. And what I wanted to talk about today with that is that I really want this to kind of turn into a bigger thing than just obviously with anything you got to have a solid foundation, and just like a house, or obviously the houses here in Connecticut, we were going through that for quite a while, making sure the foundations were solid. But so when I talk about stacking wins, in the beginning, obviously it's important that it comes from that place first. That with alcohol and my journey with that is where it began. But I want it to grow further and past that. And what I mean by that is what I hope is that the Stack and Wins mindset can be something much bigger, and it can go from if from anything from someone being, getting off the couch for the first time, or obviously not the first time, but you get what I mean, getting off the couch and doing something for the first time and trying to make themselves healthier, to going out and cooking a healthy meal. Maybe it's your very first day without having a drink or no alcohol, or maybe it's your first day without doing drugs, or maybe it's a milestone in your sobriety, or maybe you're doing something like you're going out on a on a big adventure, your first time hunting, first time taking your son fishing or daughter or whatever. You know, this is the stuff that I want that this to grow into, is those sorts of things. So what I hope is, and this is what I'm saying, like I hope that we can take this and grow it past just what it is in the beginning. But it all has to start somewhere. So So that's why I started the first couple episodes explaining where it came from. But what I hope is that people will take that thought process and let it become more. So when you do something that you think is, you know, obviously noteworthy, let's go ahead and capture it. So people post, everybody's on their phones. I'm just as guilty as the next person all the time. And what I would really like to see is, take your phone when you do something that you think you want to share that you really think is awesome. Take your phone out and just take a picture of it. Take a picture of it. Just like my boy Wayne back here when he's on the mountain, one of these alpine mountains that he's climbed. Get a picture of it and tag yourself and then tag Stacking Wins in it. And let's start making this thing bigger than what it is right now, so that people can understand that the further we take this thing, the better it's gonna get, and more people will start to see the positivity that can come from it. Because I think it's important for that to happen. I think it's important for it to be showcased in a way that people can see how we can help each other, like I talked about last time, where you go through your Facebook or your Instagram feeds or whatever social media you're on, and you see all this negative stuff. Well, let's fill it with this, right? Because I think it can make a difference. So with that though, I would also ask, tag us in, tag Stacking Wins in it, and we'll share that stuff too. I also ask that you go, and as you see, things of your friends or whoever, start liking their stuff. Because I think what happens is, so many times we're on social media and we see, our friends' feeds or whatever pop up, and you might not you might just scroll past it, and they might be doing something good, like like I said, taking their kid fishing or doing something with their family. And I've done it too. That's why a lot of these things that I'm pointing out is probably because I've already done it and I'm guilty of it, and I'm trying to be better myself. So, if you see something like this that I'm talking about, you're scrolling past, it's easy. A good example of what's easy is like people's birthdays. Facebook's great about pointing out somebody's birthday for us to celebrate that. But when you see your friends doing things like anything that's noteworthy, and they're trying to celebrate it, go ahead and give them a like or whatever. Because I'll bet you it's easy for you to go and do it to some celebrity or whoever, or some influencer that you're trying to get them to recognize and notice you. And I just think that if we start to support each other, it'll go much further. And these are the kind of things that I think we can do to just try to make ourselves better. So that's a big thing. And that I think is what I mean when I say the Stacking Wins mindset. Okay. It all started with it all started with my journey with alcohol. And that's where I kind of came up with it as I was working through that. And I just wanted it to get bigger. And it's going to get bigger. Like, I have a lot of things in my head as to where this can go. I just wanted to share where I think, some of it is right now. So I just wanted you guys to kind of see where my vision is right at this moment, and how we can try to start to spread it more. Okay. So, so that's just kind of where I'm at with this idea of the Stacking Wins mindset. With that said, I've already started putting some of this into play, and on the social media page on Instagram, I've been putting stories and reels out, and it's already starting to catch some attention because people were starting to do it. I just had my cousin. He did a 10K back in Ohio, where I'm from originally. He did a 10K. I think it was last weekend, and he's tagged Stacking Wins in it, and I shared it on the page, and some other people were doing things. So it's already getting out there, and I think it's great because that's really what I want to see happen. And then on top of that, I'm going to touch base on the Tough Ruck a little bit that I've talked about in a few of the podcasts. That's starting to get a lot more attention to. A lot of people are reaching out asking about that. So Josh was saying that I think it's on June 14th. He wants to put together over by his house. He's got a 5-mile loop, and he wants to put together a day on, I think it's June 14th, where we can all come together who's interested in the area up here, and we can go and do the loop over by his house twice and do 10 miles with rucks on. So many people are reaching out talking about how they want to do the Tough Ruck next year in April, and help raise money for the fallen military and first responders. So I'm just so shocked at how much this has caught on and how many people are interested and wanted to be a part of this. So my goal is, the more people we can get involved, I think it's going to be great. We can have, and I want to have a Stacking Wins team, and we can all go up there together. I don't expect people that can walk faster than me because I got little tiny short legs, even though I'm 5, well, depends on what day of the week, 5'9", 5'10". Whoever wants to, I don't expect anybody to stay with me if they can walk a lot faster, because once you take off on this thing, the last thing you want to do is take longer than you need to get it done. But I think it would be awesome for us to have a huge team up there of everybody supporting this event and doing it and just showing how much that we can come together to do this. So I think it's awesome. I just can't believe how many people are interested in doing it. So yeah, I will continue to update people about it and remind people on the podcast and on social media, especially once registration opens, because I don't want people to forget that it's coming in April next year, because once April starts to come around, it's usually coming, especially up here in Connecticut, it's coming out of the cold weather time frame, and it's kind of gloomy and all that sort of stuff. So I think it'll be good for us to get, to stay reminded, and I'll even be putting information, like, hey, don't forget to, try to stay in shape or get in shape if you're still interested in doing this. So as far as the Tough Ruck is concerned, I think it's going to be awesome. I really do. I just look forward to the amount of people that are talking about showing up for it already and are interested in doing it. That said, if you decide to show up at Josh's house, and I'll get the specific date again and what time and everything, and whoever wants to be there to do this 10-mile ruck on that day. I'll if we show up over there, whoever shows up, I'm gonna give a little bit of like pointers and stuff that I've learned, and I can even do it on here too. I mean, hell, I can do it right now. The things I can tell you is that there's some stuff that I definitely learned along the way from doing this that I can impart onto people. And then the other two guys that I went with this year, Sam and Rob, I'm sure they've got their own list of things that they learned along the way from their experience. One thing that when I talked to Rob and Sam about theirs offline after we got done, was Rob was pretty good about not having any blisters on his feet, which I was really surprised for him. I mean, I thought that was great. I ended up with a whole, like my right foot was covered in them, and I think Sam ended up with a couple. I'd have to ask him again, but I shame on me. I do a lot of running, but I normally don't have any problem. I just wore some like plain old athletic socks. I didn't wear some running specific socks, and I do have some. I guess I was more concerned that wearing running socks, they'd be too thin because of the extra weight that was going to be on my back. I actually thought about wearing some of my hunting socks, which are merino wool, that would wick away the moisture. And I don't know why I didn't do that at the last minute. Probably should have. For next year, I'll probably wear that type of sock, a merino wool sock that wicks away the moisture. Because what ended up happening, and why I think I ended up with so many blisters, is because they just had too much moisture. So I would highly recommend the proper footwear and socks. The shoes were fine. I just wore a pair of running shoes. I just think that I had too much moisture built up on my feet. I did bring extra socks, and I brought moleskin for my feet, which I would highly recommend moleskin in your pack or your bag or whatever it is you decide to bring, because moleskin is going to be your savior if you get them. You can probably attempt, which I didn't do, and I wish I would have in hindsight. I didn't put moleskin on in the areas where you're most prone to get blisters. And I probably should have in hindsight. I might try that next year. The reason, my thoughts behind why I didn't to begin with, I was concerned that if I put it on to begin with, which I wear moleskin in some cases when I'm hunting, the reason I didn't put it on to begin with is I was concerned that it would come loose, roll up potentially on my feet, because it's such a long ruck, whatever you want to call it, that I would end up with it bunched up and then cause blisters. So my initial thoughts were, leave it off until you need it. Well, at mile 19, I needed it because I had the blisters and they popped. And by that point, the underlying skin, the fresh skin underneath, was really raw, or not raw, really. It's wide open. And at that point, that skin's so sensitive that you need the moleskin to act as a new layer to protect it. I put it on and I was fine. It was very sensitive at first, but you can get through that. If I'm just going to say this out loud so that anyone that decides to do this, and if you get to this point, I'm not trying to dissuade anyone that says, I'm going to do it right now, and then they decide they're going to back off by hearing this. These are things that could possibly end up happening. But if you get to that point and you have a blister and it gives way, and you put moleskin on it and you start walking and it's a little painful at first, the pain goes away. Your mind is stronger than you think, and you can work through it. Don't think for 1 second that you can't. And I'm just putting this stuff out there to be real with everyone. I don't want anyone to sign up for this, believe that I made it sound like it was super easy, and then all of a sudden they're in the trenches of this thing by, mile whatever for you. For me, it was mile 19 when, it started getting a little rough, and then think, well, Brian didn't tell me that this was going to suck this bad. Everybody has their level of suck. So I'm going to be upfront with everybody, because I do want everyone that has said they want to sign up to do it, but I also want to be open and honest about it. On top of that, I want you to understand that for all of the suck you go through at the end of that thing, and I'm going to have Sam on the podcast, because I'll talk about that in a minute. For all the suck you go through, at the end of it, there's no better feeling that washes over you when you're walking across that finish line, because of what you're supporting and how it makes you feel to have accomplished what you just did. Just telling you. The feeling is unbelievable. So I'm sharing some of these tidbits now, mainly because there's some people that would not be able to make it on the 14th or whatever day it is in June, and that they just don't live in the area that are interested in doing it. And I just think it's valuable. You can go back and listen to this again, and it's already on there. One of the key factors I took away, depending on whatever weight class you want to ruck in, there's a 15 and there's a 35-pound weight class. I'll just throw this out there. I'm 45 years old. I did the 15-pound weight class. I decided that I wanted to keep it light, the lightweight class, because I'm trying to save my knees. I have a lot of other things that I want to accomplish, so I'm not trying to beat them up. Maybe at one point in my life I would have done the heavyweight, but I didn't want to this time. So I went with the 15-pound. That's 15 pounds that you have to have when you finish. So it's on the website. It tells you need to have. You have to bring your own water and fuel. Fuel being obviously your food, not like gasoline. Like that would make any sense. With that being said, I read that as because they make it sound as if it's not guaranteed that there's going to be any guarantees for fueling or aid stations along the way. So not knowing whether there was or wasn't going to be, I brought enough water that I thought I would need to get through the whole thing. And I brought enough, energy bars, protein bars, whatever it is you're going to use, those goos or whatever you think you're going to need. And then you got to factor about how long you think it's going to take you and how much of that stuff you're going to need. It ended up taking me a little over 8 hours, like 8.5 hours to do the whole thing. By the time you start putting all that stuff in your pack, and I made sure my pack was like 16, 17 pounds before I put anything in it. And I was hoping to use all of my stuff by the time I was done. I was at 27 pounds. This is the guy that wanted to do the lightweight. I was almost to the heavyweight. And I had I think 3 bottles of water, the bottled water in my holder, so 4 bottles of water, some food. I did bring an extra pair of socks, the moleskin, something to cut the moleskin. I think I had a pair of scissors, the medical grade scissors. And then I think I had an extra pair of shorts in case it rained, which it didn't rain. It wasn't going to rain, but I brought them anyway. That's the submariner in me. Always bringing extra shit you don't need. So yeah, that was it. And before you knew it, I was at 27 pounds. We have a saying in the mountains for anyone that hunts, right? And I'm sure backpackers say the same thing. Ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. Well, it adds up quick. Everything in there added up quick. And I didn't even bring an extra, some people, there were people that had radio little speakers on their packs so they could listen to music. There were people that had extra batteries for their phones. I didn't have any of that stuff. And I was at 27 pounds. So I won't have all of that stuff next time. This is what I learned, and this is what I plan on doing. There was this guy who was rucking. This dude looked like he was out for a stroll in the park the whole time. I don't think he was exerting any kind of energy, really. Oh, let me back up. By the way, I used one, and I'm sitting here. It's sitting right on the floor over here. I was using one of my packs that I use when I go hunting, which it's a bigger pack. But I mean, the weight, like I said, when I started was 17 pounds. So it's not like it weighed any more than it should have. It's just a bigger pack, the frame and everything. When I do it next year, I'm going to get a different pack because there's packs that I think are better suited for this. but there was a guy, he was out for a stroll in the park. A lot of people were wearing, and this is not a plug. I don't get paid for this. I don't get anything. I'm just telling you what I saw. There was a lot of people out there using Go Ruck packs. And after talking to a friend of mine that owns a Go Ruck pack and uses it, and then after looking at them online and doing some research after getting back, they do look like they're very well suited for obviously rucking and this sort of thing. They're designed in a way that I think I've never even seen one in person other than the people using them at this event, but I've never worn one. I wish there was a place that I could go try one. But it seems like they're designed in the way that the weight sits right up against the back of the pack that goes up against your back, and the way the sleeves for the weights work. It seems like they're very well suited for this to make the weight sit in there in a way that it doesn't feel like it's beating you up while you're walking with it. With that said, you can carry an old JanSport that you had from, or Ella beanbag you had from high school if you want. It's just probably going to make it a lot less comfortable for you. I intend on getting one of those Go Ruck packs. And the reason why is because having talked to a friend of mine that's got one, he says it's great. The way I think that it's going to sit in there, the weight's going to sit in the pack up against your back, higher on your back instead of low. Mine, I used a sandbag inside of a bag of some sand inside of a dry bag. It was down low. I just think it's going to work better. This dude that was out for a stroll in the park, I'm going to tell you about this guy. He was wearing a Go Ruck pack. I don't think he might have had an extra pair of socks. Maybe. He was wearing blue jeans, like a hooded sweatshirt and a ball cap. And this guy was just walking along, not a care in the world. And he was with his buddy, and they were just strolling along. And I don't even think he had extra water. I think he grabbed a couple bottles of water from where we started at the starting line, and then he would use those. I think the aid stations were probably like every 5 or 8 miles or something like that. He would go from one aid station to the next, and then he'd finish those waters or Gatorades and throw those bottles away, and then he'd grab another one. And then he'd grab a couple bars or whatever they had there to eat, and then he'd use that until he got to the next aid station, and I don't think he had anything extra in that pack he didn't need except the amount of weight he was carrying. I think he was a lightweight, so he was like 15 pounds. That's it. And I watched that dude, and I said, I'm doing that next year. So that's my recommendation. Do with it as you will. I will probably do something similar just because he made it look like it was an enjoyable outing, and I'm gonna do the same thing because it was enjoyable, but he didn't suffer at all. And I just think that's the way to go. Like, I'm going to try it that way and see how it is. And I want to get one of those Go Ruck packs because I feel like there was a lot of them out there, and everybody that had one, they just seemed to carry very well. But they're not, I will say they're not cheap. So if you decide to go that route, and they got a ton of them. They got a ton. They got like the GR1, which is their first one that's been updated a little bit. They got like the Go Rucker 4. I mean, they got a whole bunch of them. So you have to go on their website. You got to really take the time to look through them, figure out which one you think is going to fit you best. They got different sizes, 20 liter, 15 liter, 25 liter. It's crazy. You got to sit there and really kind of figure out what is going to work better for you. But I'm taking some of the advice from a friend of mine. He's about the same size as me. We're about the same height, same build. And he just has a lot of good things to say about it. And I think the pack is a little over $200. I mean, good book bags are that much anyway, but that's just my recommendation. Like I said, I know it's a little expensive, but it's something that might be worthwhile to make your experience with this whole event better. And that's just my recommendation. But yeah, take a look at it. Okay. So that's a Tough Ruck for now. I'll talk more about it as we get closer because of so many people sounding interested in it. And then as the day gets closer that we can sign up, I'll put that stuff out. We can all get signed up. I'll put a thing out for what team it is. I'll sign up first and then let everybody know so we can all be on the same team. And then once we get a count, I'll look into T-shirts. And then somebody asked about patches. That's something Josh and I were talking about too. Maybe making patches to put on our packs for everybody. So we can have patches too, which that'd probably be pretty cool. So we'll see. We'll see about all that stuff as we get closer. Okay. So last weekend, Sam, which I talked about Sam. I'm going to have Sam on here. I'll just go openly and tell you guys that. Sam Barnes is a good friend of mine. And he's been really busting his ass lately. And I'm really proud of him. And the reason why I want to bring him on here is Sam doesn't have a problem with alcohol, but he is living a stack and wins mindset right now. And he's an example of a guy who I think fits into that category of someone that exemplifies what I'm trying to talk about, that just because you haven't struggled with alcohol doesn't mean that you can't do exactly what I was trying to say, as far as going out there, getting things done, trying to showcase how you can do better with yourself, whatever that arena is that you're in, and try to just really harness yourself and be better at what it is you're doing. So Sam and I just went down to Philly last weekend, and we did a Tough Mudder. So Tough Mudder, if you've never done one, I'm sure you get an idea of what it is, or you've probably seen them. It's one of those Mudder races. There's the Spartan race, Tough Mudder. I can't even think of all of them. Well, anyway, he asked me if I would go down and do a Tough Mudder with him. This was months ago. This is never something that's been on my radar as a thing to go do until he reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, sure. I'll go do it with you. I've never done one, never even really considered it, but I'm open to doing something like this. It sounds like a physical challenge. I'm always up for those. So we went down and did it. Here's what I'm going to tell you about a Tough Mudder. I'll give you some insight if you've never done one, you want to do something like this. There is thousands of people that do these things, at least the one in Philly. I was not even remotely expecting to see that many people. We didn't see that many people at the Tough Ruck, but there was thousands of people there. And I was just blown away by how many people were there waiting to do this thing. So we got there the night before, got there on Friday. We were going to be doing this Tough Mudder on Saturday morning. I think they run you in different heats or groups, right? A group of people, they all go out, and then there's kind of like a little bit of a lull, and then the next group comes up and gathers like a whole bunch of herd of cattle, and then you go up, and then they go out. They kind of stagger it so you're not all piled up on top of each other. Well, Sam and I were scheduled to go out between the 10 and 10:45 group. We got there a little bit late just because traffic and everything else. And what I'm about the crazy part I'm going to tell you. So we get there, follow the directions, and then there's a big sign that says Tough Mudder, parking over here. So we pull up, and we're parking in a farmer's field that's been plowed. And we're like in the back 40 of this thing. There's thousands of cars everywhere. And we get out of the car, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people in line waiting for these school buses. And there's like probably 4 or 5 buses running. So we wait. And I was just still, like I said, totally astonished at how many people are going to be running this thing today or that day. So we get in the bus, and we finally get on, 5th or so bus that went by. And it was another 10 minutes to get to where we were going. So we ride the bus over, get off. And this is like a festival. Just, music and lights and energy drinks and muddy people and headbands. And you name it, it's all over the place. And we get off the bus, we walk up, and you get checked in with the registration people. They give you all your bracelets for stuff. and then you go in and the bag check. This is probably one of the coolest things that I saw there, which I was really happy that they had something, because I was kind of concerned about this. They said that you could bring your bag and check it in with bag check, and I'm like, how are they going to do this to where my bag's not going to get stolen with all my stuff in it? Because, I mean, you can't take your phone and you can't take your wallet with you because you're going to get all covered in mud. So the way they do it, it's such a simple thing, but it works so great. So the bag check area is a big quarantined off, fenced off area. You walk up and there's people standing there, like little security people. You walk up, they give you, and Sam took care of it because we just put all our stuff in one bag. They give you a bracelet. On the bracelet has a number. That bracelet is tied to another bracelet, matching numbers. They put one on your bag and one on you. When you get ready to leave, you go and get your bag. They match them to make sure it matches, and that's how you get your bag. I was like, so simple, but yet it works perfect. And they don't let anybody in there. Well, they let people in, but they don't let you leave unless you got a bag that corresponds to the bracelet. I was like, wow. I mean, once again, I don't claim to be the smartest guy, but that was like super simple, but it worked out to keep people from stealing other people's shit while they were gone out doing the Tough Mudder. So anyway, we get ready, we go out, we walked around a little bit, and then I was like, come on, let's go get this thing started. So we go out and just tons and tons of people. But I will say this, of all the obstacles, I don't want to give away too much, but you can find anything online nowadays. Nothing is so hard that you can't accomplish it. So if you're ever interested in doing one of these, you want to check that off your bucket list or stack that win, go do it. It's a great experience. The best part of the whole thing, there's a gentleman that talks to everybody in the beginning, and he explains that, we're trying to bring everybody together as a community to work together, and he has everybody take a knee. And he gives a big, long explanation as to why this is important to him. And he says how, I like to have everybody take a knee because there's so many people that would rather be doing this today or have the opportunity to do this today, but because they can't, because they're doing things like our first responders that are keeping us safe at home, and the military men and women that are overseas right now or have lost their lives over, supporting and defending our freedoms that can't do this today. We're here to honor and respect them while we take a knee. And I was just like, man, that's pretty fucking deep. And I just really appreciated it. So, especially being a retired guy, I just thought it was really cool that this event took that time. And like I said, you go out in groups, right? So different heats, corral up just like a bunch of cattle. They send them out, and then the next group comes up and does the same thing. This gentleman was having this same conversation with every single group and doing the same thing every single time a group came up. And I was just like, he wasn't getting tired of it either. You could tell he had the same energy every time. And I was just like, this is awesome. Like, I'm really happy that someone is this, and he's been doing this job and being a part of Tough Mudder for 11 years. And I was like, this is fantastic. This makes it all worthwhile. So, and then you stand up, you do the national anthem before he sends you out, and then they send you out. And I was just like, it makes you, shake hands with somebody next to you that you don't know, and then you get out there and go for it. And I'll tell you, you can't. There's certain obstacles within the Tough Mudder you cannot. They're built so that you physically cannot, no matter how big and strong you are, you physically cannot accomplish them on your own without the help of your partners with you. Which that I think is what was the one of the cooler things about it. Which, like I said, I'd never really put this on my radar as something to do. Probably because, I spend a lot of time in the woods doing hunting and stuff like that, but to just purposely go dive into a bucket of mud is not something that I was ever really interested in. But the idea of the community aspect that they talk about a lot, and the idea of working together to get through these some of these obstacles that you cannot do physically without the help of others. I thought that was really neat. It was really cool because you can't do it. You can't do it without the help of the others, and people did it without question. It was like, I got to help this guy, or I got to help this person over this part, and it was just, I thought it was neat, especially coming from my military background where you have to rely on others in order to make it. So if you haven't done one, go do one. I recommend it for that reason. If it's something that you're on the edge about, like, I think I might want to, but I'm not sure, just do it. Just do it. It's worthwhile. Tag us in it. Tag Stacking Wins when you do it, because I'd love to see it. I'd love to showcase it. Collaborate with us on it, and we'll put it up on there, and we'll get you on there. So yeah, I think it's awesome. So I want to have Sam on here, so he can share his stories with you guys, because he's been an inspiration to me, because he's come a long way, and he's come a long way in a short time because of how much hard work he's putting in. And it just means a lot to me to see someone so dedicated to improving himself, and not letting anything stand in his way. So we're going to get him on here. Okay. This weekend coming up is Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a weekend that we all reflect. I know we've all seen the things, about while you're cooking your burger, think about the people that have lost their lives. That is very true. But at the same time, you should take that moment to think about the men and women that have paid the ultimate sacrifice to our country, when you're doing that. So also this weekend is the Murph. If you've never heard of the Murph, it's a physical workout challenge that takes place on Memorial Day every year. A lot of CrossFit gyms showcase this. You don't have to go to a CrossFit gym to do it. You can do it at your house. All you need is a pull-up bar or something to do pull-ups with. Go grab a tree branch. Myself and Sam are going to do it this weekend on Monday. And what the Murph is this. I'll break it down real quick for you. And you can sign up for it by searching the Murph Workout Challenge. And then if you want to sign up for it, you can. If you just want to do it to pay respect, you can. And then it's that simple. It's really not that deep. But here's what it is. Here's what the Murph is. The Murph is a 1 mile run. So you go do a mile run. You come back to wherever you're going to do it. You need to accomplish 100 pull-ups, 200 sit-ups, 300 squats, all body weight. Nothing is... Or you can wear a 20-pound weight vest. That's an option. And then you do another 1 mile run. You can do it for time. If you do it for time, post your time. Or in Brian's world, you can just do it until you're done. The best way to break this down that I've found is you do 5 pull-ups at a time, 10 push-ups at a time, and 20 squats at a time. And you got to do 20 sets of all of them in between your mile runs. That's how I do it to break it down. The Murph is a workout that was named after Lieutenant Mike Murphy, who died during Operation Red Wings. There was a movie made after it called Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg. Mike Murphy gave his life on the mountains in Afghanistan when he went out to make a cell phone call to try to get help for him and his teammates, the Navy SEALs that were stuck on the mountain over there where Marcus Luttrell got saved. So he used to do this workout when he was over there with his ruck, his kit on. He did this. This was one of the workouts he did. That's why it's named the Murph. So Mike Murphy, if you didn't know this, if any of you are watching this and don't know it, he was awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions that day. So this is done in his honor on Memorial Day every year. I think everybody should do it. I understand it's very challenging. I try to do it as much as I can on those days, and I'm going to do it again on Monday. Okay, so that's Memorial Day. And the last thing I got coming up is the Total Archery Challenge, and I'm going out there in Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh at Seven Springs. I got some friends of mine that were going out there. I'm gonna get some footage from that, and I'll put it up on the Stacking Wins page when I get back, so everybody can see that stuff. I think it'll be pretty cool for you guys to see that. Just a little explanation about it. I think I've already given one, but I'll give one again. It'll just take a second. It's basically like golf for guys with bows and arrows. And what we do is very similar to golf. You start at a tee box or a place to knock your arrow, and you shoot at a target, a 3D target that's the shape of a 3D animal, like a deer, an elk, or whatever. And then they're all at different ranges. So one could be at 60 yards, one could be at 80, maybe it's at 40, whatever. And then we all take turns shooting. When we're done taking our turn shooting, we go up, we pull our arrows, and then we go on to the next one and we do it all over again. Each range has 24 targets. We do one range per day. We're signed up to do 2 ranges, and then that's it. So, like I said, it's similar to the concept of golf. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 of us going out. So, like I said, very similar to golf. But it'll be cool because these are held in different places around the country. The one we're going to in Pennsylvania is the second largest one that's done. I think the first one is in Park City, Utah, or maybe Big Sky, Montana, one of the two. And it's pretty neat because the one in Pennsylvania, most of the bow hunters in the country are whitetail bow hunters here on the East Coast. So the one in Pennsylvania is centrally located that captures most of the whitetail bow hunters. That's why they do it there. So you get a lot of bow hunters that are whitetail hunters coming there. Additionally, you get a lot of the different companies that show up to this event to bring, their different products so people can look at them and that sort of stuff. So this is a pretty cool event. It's, like I said, it's the second largest one. A lot of people show up. A lot of people in this industry show up that are, very well established in the industry. So it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to go out there and stay out there and camp at a campground that's local and close by. So it's going to be pretty neat. If anybody that watches this is interested in bow hunting and thinks that this is something they'd be interested in wanting to do, you can send me a message if you have my number, or if you can send me a message on Instagram on the Stacking Wins Show page, and just let me know, and I can get you some information, or we could talk about it. But I'm really excited. I've been wanting to do one of these for a few years. Just the opportunity never came up, or whatever. So this is gonna be really neat for all of us to go check it out. So I'm really pumped about this. But yeah, I talked to Josh. He's got himself a big shoot coming up as long as the weather holds off for his rifle shooting that was postponed because of the weather last time. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm gonna get some footage from the Total Archery Challenge, and so you guys can see it. But yeah. But that's it. So I really hope that everybody's doing great, and I want to see some more people doing, things that they're really proud of, and tagging the Stacking Wins in it, so we can get that stuff up online. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. On top of that, next week we got our next guest coming on. This one's going to be a good one. I've known this gentleman for a very long time, and I think he's got a great story that you guys are going to enjoy. So we'll get him on here, and we'll have him tell his story, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So it's gonna be a good one. He's done some really great stuff in his not only his career, but in his life too. So it's gonna be a good one. Okay, that's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Look forward to talking to you guys some more and stacking wins. Okay, thanks so much.